Hello guys, and welcome back. And I am in the process of installing the switches to differentiate between power cab 1 or power cab 2. Also installing the slide switches here. So let me open up the panel here and show you what I've got. So I've mounted the terminal switches here, or excuse me, the terminal strips. The green denotes the power cab 1 and yellow denotes power cab 2, and then I've got blue for the ground. So let's just start from the actual auto pulse power unit here. So let me pull it back here. So as you can see here, I've got green coming out of cab 1, and then I've got the two blues here, which are the common or the negative. I've got this little suitcase connector that takes 2 to 1, 2 wires, or 1 to 2, whichever way you're looking at it. But I've spliced these here in the back because since this is negative or common, I really just need the 1 wire coming out. And as you can see here, I've also got the yellow wire. Now this is all 18 gauge wire here. For the bus wire, I've actually got 14 gauge. And really, I mean, in all honesty, I probably don't even need it really to be that thick, but it's what I bought. You know, for the thickness of the gauge, it's for you know, if you're running really long stretches of track, the more insulated the wire is, the better the conductivity of the wire. So. But since, you know, this isn't a really big layout, I think the 14 gauge is probably, it's more than fine actually. I could probably use 18 gauge throughout the whole thing. But anyway, so looking back in here, what I've done is I've got, you know, my green and my yellow coming in for cab 1, the power leads for cab 1 and 2, and they're connected to the terminal strips here, which, you know, just have all these jumpers in series here. And what that does is that enables me to supply power to each one of these slots or ports, if you will. So then what I've got is I've got these little connectors here that I bought online that will enable me to pull the switch out of line if something goes wrong with the switch. Let's see if I can open this up a little bit more. If something goes wrong with the switch. So as you can see on my, you know, I've got green coming in and yellow, and then I've got the lead coming out of the double pole, double throw switch. Now, if you remember back from some previous videos, you know, I told you I was only going to be using 1 pole here. You know, this is a double pole switch. I only need really just on, off, on position. So, you know, based on which way the switch is thrown, you know, the circuit, it makes a circuit using this middle terminal here. So so what I've got is I've got the terminal coming here to the slide switch, and I don't know if you can see that or not. It's kind of hard to see, but you know, I've got my jumpers. You know, my red and my black jumpers coming in order to reverse the polarity for the track. So, and then I've got the red and the black wire coming out. As you can see here, they've also got some little connectors on them. Let's see if I can. Sorry about the camera shot, guys. It's kind of hard to do all this with only 2 hands and hold the camera. So, you know, I've got these where I can pull these out of line quickly as well if something should happen. I'm not having to unsolder stuff in order to pull the switches out if they should fail. So right now what I've got is I've just got the positive and the common wire running. They're actually just twisted to some actual feeders that I set out on the main line here. So, you know, I've got my positive. The inside rail is going to be common for me on this layout. So I've actually got the 2 wires I just showed you. They're Let me look up underneath here. So as you can see there, I've got those actually just twisted directly to the feeders. Now, like I said, I haven't installed my bus wire yet. This was more just for test. By the way, for the feeders, let me show you what I used here. I went to Home Depot and bought this 20 gauge bell wire, and it's solid. It's solid. It's not the braided wire. It works really good for feeders because it's got some rigidity to it, and it enables you to, you know, after you get your holes drilled, you know, to feed the wire through the, you know, through the layout. So yeah, and it seems to work great. I tried it, and I bought a bunch of that stuff originally back when I was going to do the other layout, and so I found some use for it here. So with all that said, here's what we've got so far. So I've got my power cab on, and so what I'm going to do here, I've got my locomotive set out there on the main line. So let's see. So if we look down here at the switch, let me cut everything off. Okay, so you know, if I want to select the power cab 1, just push the toggle switch up, and then I can supply the power right here. And as you can see, we're taking off. We have power, and so just let that run for a second. Okay, now to test power cab 2. Actually, I tell you what, let me reverse the order here. The good thing with the slide switch is the middle position's off. So if I want to, you know, reverse the direction of the locomotive, I just can take it to the middle position, and then I'm going to pull it down to reverse the polarity. So now, as you can see, my locomotive's running backwards there, which is exactly what we wanted. And so like I said, I've only got power going to the main line right now, and I'll probably cut power cab 1 back here. Okay, so now if we come down here to power cab 2, you know, I just pull it down to 2 and give it some power. Actually, I still got it in reverse. Flip it forward there, and there we go. As you can see, power cab 2, and so yeah, everything's working as expected, and it's exactly the functionality that I wanted for the layout. What I've got left to do now is I've got to actually go in, and now each one of these blocks, as you can see on my diagram here, like if you look over here at the legend, block 1, which is the main line in this case, you know, it's the red line, so that's the one I'm actually running power to right now. So I've got to go in and run a bus line, if you will, for each one of these colors, so they'll be independent of each other. So that's what I've got to do. Install the bus wire for each one of the blocks, and then finish wiring up the blocks, and then we'll get started in on the throw out switches here, which I mentioned in the last video. So as you can see here, I've got my holes drilled for the LED lights, and so we'll definitely shoot some video on that, show you guys how I'm doing that. If you're wondering about how I wired this up, I encourage you guys to go back and just, you know, look at I think I had like three or four videos explaining how to do this, and I think that'll help you out. So that's about it for this video, and I really appreciate you guys watching, and I'll keep you posted.